Hi, good afternoon, and welcome to the Share Series Management Update. I'm Cristina Fernandez, Senior Analyst at Telsey Advisory Group, covering the home furnishing sector. And I have the pleasure today to speak with Clarence Smith, CEO of Havertys since 2003. The format is fireside chat, and if you have any questions, you can submit them through the question button on the top of the screen, and I can ask those for you. Clarence is going to start with some brief remarks, and then we'll proceed with the fireside chat. So Clarence, I'll pass it on to you.
Well, thank you, Christina. Glad to be here. Havertys is a chain of stores. We're from 16 states, from Maryland to Texas. We have about 122 stores. We have 2 more that we're going to be opening by the end of the year. We like where we are in positioning, not only with physical positionings, but also with the product and the kind of customer we're trying to attract. We're dealing with more design customers, which allows us to have a larger ticket. And we're located in what we believe are some of the best states and locations in the country. Our biggest state is Florida. We just acquired some stores, which will get us to 33 stores in Florida. The next is Texas, then the Carolinas and Georgia. So we're located where people are moving, and when people move, they buy furniture. So we like where we are, and we're positioned well. It has been a tough time to come back after post-COVID, but we like our position.
Great, thank you. So we'll get started, and you just hit that it's a little bit of a difficult time for those in the audience who are not as familiar with the home furnishings industry or don't track it closely. Sort of, what's the state of the home furnishing sector? We know demand has been tough. Maybe can you talk about kind of where we are in that correction?
Yeah, we had 2 record years back to back in 21 and 22. We did over $1 billion. Sales were up double digit. What we were doing last year, frankly, was delivering a backlog that was built up during right after COVID. And this year, our backlogs are down to where they were pre-COVID. We're getting deliveries, and we're having a reduction in our incoming orders compared to previous years. So we're frankly back to eat what you kill. There was a deferral, and generally, if what we write, we'll deliver. And it takes generally in a normal situation where we're getting back to somewhere around 30 days to get the product written and delivered, where in the past 2 years, it was sometimes 6 months. So the industry is struggling a little bit with that, but we think that it's starting to get better.
And with the industry being tougher for everyone, are you seeing competitors act differently? Are they being more promotional? What's your take on the landscape?
We haven't really seen the promotional activity change much. We've seen bankruptcies, which changes a lot of things. But as far as the players we promote with and compete with, we haven't seen a lot of change there. We use credit, free credit, as part of our promotion, and we're using that actually less than last year because it's more expensive. We're controlling the amount of time we use it. And it's mainly around the holidays, around the major holidays, which are important to us. So I really haven't seen additional discounting that would be different from the past. And credit is used kind of like what I just said with the promotional players, more aggressive than us. They use it more all the time. We use it only around events.
And back onto the demand, you mentioned that you feel a little bit better about the industry as some order intake. So what's your view for the rest of the year, and what do you think will take for consumer demand to pick up? Do you think it's more tied to sentiment, or is it really we need the housing market and mortgage rates to come down for demand to recover?
Well, those are the last things you mentioned. Those are most important. I would say interest rates, which affect housing, is the most important thing. Our key indicator is new home sales in the South. So as housing improves or manages through this, it's going to be better for us. I would say the low points so far were in the spring. March, April were very tough months. We've improved from that. It's still down compared to the past, but it's improving. We feel we may be bottoming out. That's kind of and I've heard the same thing about housing. I think that the markets are trying to recover and figure that out. And I think as that happens, it comes back for us. And we're starting to feel that. I think people are getting more comfortable with investing in their home. They're not going to move because they can't afford to move or they can't afford a new mortgage, but they want to invest in their home. It's the most important asset they have. I think that we're feeling a little better about the second half.
Yeah, that's encouraging. And on your prepared remarks, you talked about what's unique about Havertys, the footprint. What else would you say differentiates Havertys from the competition in the markets you're in?
Well, the first thing we do is develop our own brand. I mean, we're a branded retailer, so we're developing an exclusive product for us. We have upgraded our prices and our product. We purposefully moved away from the promotional houses, and I'll mention who they are. Most of our markets is Ashley and Rooms to Go. We're clearly above them. We do more personalization. We deliver all our own product. I think we don't emphasize that as much as I think we should, but all of our warehouse people, all of our delivery people, the people that come into your home are Havertys team members, and we control that whole process. We feel it's not exclusive, but it's highly unusual in the furniture business to control that whole back end. It's difficult, it's expensive, but it does help us control our brand and our service. We're doing more personalization of product today. You can buy leather motion sectionals in all different colors. We're able to move product, more custom product. And I think that is definitely different than the promotional houses. And I think it's what is changing us. We're dealing more with design. We have in-house, we have 3D room planners, and all of that helps us reach a customer who can afford our product and invest in their home.
Great. Shifting to another topic, which we've spoken a lot about the last couple of years, but getting a little bit better, supply chain. You probably have a good read into it since you have your own distribution and all that. But as you look at the costs where they sit today versus, let's say, a year ago, where are you seeing the most relief?
You're talking about in costs?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be container freight coming from Asia. I mean, that got crazy the last 2 years. I mean, at times we were paying $25,000 up to $30,000 a container, which would be more than the product sometimes. Now it's back to pre-COVID levels, which is in the $3,000 range, a container coming from Asia. Spot rates are sometimes even less than that, but it's back to what we saw pre-COVID. And those costs have helped us this year. Last quarter, we released our LIFO. We had a reversal because we were paying so heavily last year for our inventories, and now we're coming back into normal rates, and it's helping our margins.
How about other areas of the business? Let's say employment, healthcare. Are you seeing a lot of inflation in some of the other cost categories? Well,
labor was a hit, and we've reacted to that and adjusted to that. And I don't see labor coming down, but we were able to cut our staffing and have adjusted to as much as we can to current conditions. I mean, one of the things we did from pre-COVID to after COVID and are still there is we reduced our head count significantly. Pre-COVID, we had about 3,500 team members. Now we're down to about 2,400. And most of that cutback was in the store level and in distribution and delivery. But we've adjusted to that reality that we're paying more for the people we currently have. One of the things that we did in our stores was reduce our store sales team, our designer and our salespeople, but particularly our salespeople. And those salespeople today are making a great deal more than they did before. What it provides our customer is a better service level for them. We're dealing with our best people that are dealing with all of our customers. They're making more money, they're more happy, and able to service the customer better. So we've improved our service levels, in my mind, while reducing our staff.
So, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And then, so maybe we can talk about some of the cost cuts that you mentioned. And I know you've done a lot over the last couple of years, and recently did another workforce reduction to align costs to sales. Do you feel like you're in a good spot where costs are aligned to this kind of new normal that we're in, or there's more to be done?
I don't see that we're going to have to do much more. I really don't. I think we've adjusted our delivery, our warehouse personnel to a level that we think is the right level. Our sales team is about where we think it should be. And as I mentioned earlier, we're starting to see a leveling off here of the downturn. So I think we're in a pretty good place right now. We don't have plans to reduce staff more currently. Christina, you went on mute.
Apologies for that. So with the cost being aligned, do you think you can get back to a double-digit operating margin? I know this year seems like, the first half was a little tougher than expected. Or do you really need sales to recover, and that could take longer?
Well, we do need sales.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's still our objective. We still think that that's something we need to do consistently. Yes, we've fallen back with that in the first half. We do need the sales. We've done a better job of increasing our margins. Some of that was reduction in freight and a LIFO credit back to us. But I think our stores are doing a better job. We're getting a better product. We're not discounting as much. We don't have inventory issues where we have to discount our inventory and have more closeouts. We're doing a better job with that. So I think across the board, we're going to be operating better. And if we can get some kind of relief on sales and not be down the double digit we were before, I think we can get back to that quarter by quarter. So that's certainly our objective.
One area I wanted to ask you was on pricing broadly. During the pandemic, there was a lot of price increases because of supply chain, all those costs going up. A few companies are starting to talk about doing some price reductions to be able to give some back to the consumer. How do you feel about Havertys prices? Do you feel like they're good value for the consumer? Is there opportunity to give some of it back?
I do think that we offer a good value for our consumer. We have had some price decreases from the factories, and we've reduced some of our freight. So we do have the opportunity to have better pricing in certain categories, not across the board. We're not going to be cutting across the board, but we do have specific promotions that we can do product by product, and we will be doing that. And particularly as we get cost decreases from the manufacturer. So it's a mix, but we're not planning to discount across the board. That's not in our plan.
And I don't know if you've been in this situation in the past, but if you have, when you reduce prices, or if you do so, is this volume typically, outpace that price reduction that you can sell more units?
It is a very short way of thinking about running a business. We could cut our prices and do pretty well for a month or two, and then it comes back. So it is not our strategy. We don't believe in it. We've seen it happen. We're not a discounter. It'll be very product specific, like a motion group or a particular bedroom group that we get a value on. And you can get a brief surge if you get credit for the fact that you've cut your prices across the board, but you don't recover it. And it is a very bad retail strategy to do that. So that's not in our game.
Yeah, I know you're playing the long game. So with that, maybe let's talk about your store strategy. You've talked about expanding stores, which you haven't done in a long time. So maybe give us sort of what's the rationale behind it, and the opportunity you have now with some of the Bed Bath & Beyond locations that you're taking over.
Well, we have several stores we're opening the rest of this year. But yes, we were very aggressive and excited about the Bed Bath & Beyond opportunity. We got involved in the auction. We put bids on a number of stores. We ended up with 4 of them. And the most exciting thing about that to me is they're in particularly the Florida markets. There are 3 key markets where we wanted these locations. We've been trying to find locations in St. Petersburg, Destin, which is the Emerald Coast, key market there, great location. Pembroke Pines, which is just north of Miami. We've had a hard time getting in there. And then a store just south of Memphis in South Haven, Mississippi. So they're really good leases, very long-term. We're going to be upfitting them as quickly as possible, hopefully to get them up, let's say the middle of the first quarter. And it's a way to get into the market quickly. We're also looking at with landlords on other Bed Bath & Beyond locations. So these came directly from the bankruptcy court, which got us in them. But these others we're negotiating today. We've got LOIs out on a number of locations. And Christina, we're going to see more opportunity in this industry. There are a lot of people who, had that quick flash of new business over the last 2 years, and all of a sudden it's not there. And they don't have the cash to live through this downturn. We do. We're prepared to do it. I'll frankly say that I'm more excited about our growth opportunities today than I have been in my career. I think we will have the ability to add a number of really good locations and supplement the markets we're in. We want to stay within our footprint, but we do have reach. We have the ability to reach several more states, and we're working on a number of other locations. So we've articulated the goal of 5 stores a year, new stores. We think they're going to be opportunities for more of that, but we're going to make good decisions on where we go.
We'll stay tuned for that. And what does it take to open the stores? Like, what condition were they in? What's the capital investment required to get these stores up to your standard?
Well, when you have a new building like this, and this is all us upfitting here, it's about $2 to $3 million a store. It depends on how bad the store is. Some of the Bed Bath & Beyond stores were older than others, and you might have to replace the HVAC, but it's going to be $2 to $3 million per store to upfit. When you're doing a new lease, the landlord's paying part of that, and it's put into your lease term. We frankly like this operation better, and we're going to be working with an outside contractor to help us do these. We've just engaged JLL to help us do these projects. We know who the man is going to be doing them. He lives in Florida. We think we can move quickly and efficiently to open these. And we will learn a lot doing this. when we went to the auction, we'd never been to one before. We've learned how to do it. We were the third most aggressive in that bankruptcy auction, and there are going to be more, and we're looking at them. So we are very good at converting existing retail boxes to Havertys in the 35,000 square foot range. And that's what these are. We know of a number of more locations, and we will be looking at them.
How about from a staffing perspective? Do you typically would take staffing from an existing store, let's say like a store assistant, store manager, and move it to a new store? How difficult is it to really have the right people to manage these stores?
Well, if you take over another furniture retailer, you have some staff that you can work with. In this case, obviously, these are Bed Bath & Beyond stores, and unlikely that we'll get many people there. But what we particularly like about these is every one of them is in a area where we have an area manager. We have a general manager right there that's going to be able to take over this store, be able to staff, be able to train the people in an existing branch store, which is only 30 miles away. We have the management team in place for each of these operations. It'll be a very smooth transition, and we've got time. Even though this is pretty quick, and we plan to open in February, we'll bring on a lot of the staff maybe late in the year and let them work at one of our other branch stores and then move over. We think we can improve our closing rate by that kind of training. So we've got name recognition in every one of these markets. So we're counting on them to kick immediately right after opening.
Great. I wanted to also talk to you about some of the other initiatives you have. So I guess, merchandising's, really big for any retailer. Like what, are there any areas where you're trying to, expand the assortment, or maybe just give some color how you approach merchandising? Is there a percentage of merchandise that's new every year just to keep things fresh?
We usually turn about 20% of our merchandise, and it'll turn more than that in upholstery, because upholstery is more fashion. It's more fabric oriented. Case goods don't turn as fast as that, hopefully. I mean, you'd want a good case good group to run for years. What happened earlier this year is because of all the backlog and supply chain, we weren't able to get a lot of the case good bedroom and dining room groups that we had developed pre-COVID. So we were almost a year and a half, maybe 2 years behind. A lot of that came in this year. So as we bring in the new product, that category jumped in importance, particularly bedroom and dining room. And that's exciting, though. You're bringing a new product on the floor, people get excited about it. But the turnover is about 20% a year. And we do have another category we'll be bringing in late this year. It was delayed, is outdoor patio furniture. We've got a new lineup we're bringing in that'll come in late this year, be ready for the selling season early next year. We know that's something we've missed after COVID, but we have a terrific program coming in we think will be a good enhancement for our plan.
Great. And then another topic, which I know this is a really important program for Havertys, is the interior design and customization. So can you talk to us about, I guess, how prevalent it is that customers are working with designers, customizing product? How are you looking to expand it, and how it's helped your ticket and your sales?
It's been a big change for us. It's somewhere between 25 to 30% of our business is design oriented. We're focusing on making sure that the marketplace, that our customers know we offer this service. We're doing more digital, more social advertising, talking about Havertys design program. If we get a designer involved, our average ticket doubles or more than doubles. It goes from, now we're selling an average ticket of over $3,000. So it'd be over $6,000 if you get a design in the home dealing with the customer. We've also added 3D room planner last year, and a greatly improved one, which is easier to use. It gives a real view of what the furniture looks like in your home. And I think it's offering the customer what our whole mission statement is. Our vision, I have it here, our vision, we aspire to help customers bring the vision of their home to life. That's what we're finally delivering on. We can do that, and we do it better than our competition. And it allows us to add more product, broader mix of what the customer has in their home, and give her the whole look. In the past, we couldn't do that. Today, we can. We've upgraded the product. Our designers are selling a great deal more product for us, and it's driving our business.
Before I move on to the next topic, are there any other initiatives internally that those listening should be aware about? I know you've relaunched the website, doing some things on the marketing.
Well, our website, we moved to a new website, as you know, early in the year. We are improving it dramatically. We've spent a great deal of money. We've added a new firm to help us, Bounteous, who's helping us understand how to make it work better. We know that the customer goes to our website first. We know that it is our front door. We want to make it very easier for her to use and interact with us, and have the product delivered wherever she wants within our footprint. So website, we're doing a lot more with our systems. Everything we do is to make it easier for a customer to deal with us. And I think the investments we're making, we think as a retailer, not as a manufacturer, everything at the store level, at the warehouse level, delivery level, how do we get the product to the customer quicker and serve her better? So a lot of our investments are in our systems and in IT, and we'll continue to do that.
The last topic I wanted to discuss was your capital allocation. You have a pretty, sizable cash balance, over 100 million at the end of the last quarter. Can you talk about where you're investing and how you think about giving some of that cash back to shareholders?
Well, we've been very good about returning to our shareholders. Historically, you've seen our past there. We've given back over 100 million some years. Our capital expenditures this year, our CapEx is going to be around $57 million. We bought back our Florida warehouse, which we built and sold right after COVID, or right before COVID. We had the opportunity to buy it back because we want to be able to expand it to serve those 33 stores that we're opening up, that we have down there. So our CapEx this year is pretty heavy. We have over $20 million set up for buybacks, and we'll be opportunistic about that. We have been very aggressive in the past. Our stock's at a pretty good level right now. We're going to watch that closely. Our board looks at it every quarter and helps us decide, do we buy back more stock or do we look at our dividend? Our dividend is earning about 3.5%, which is actually lower than what it has been, but our stock's at a reasonable level now. So it's about 3.5%, but we will look at it. We look at it every quarter. We've done special dividends in the past. That is something that is considered.
And I know you mentioned, this year's a little heavy on the CapEx. How should we think about a normal CapEx? Is that 30 million level sort of like a good steady state after, backing out the DC?
30 to 35 is steady state, yes. We may be building a store or two. That'll be very unusual to build a store. But we do have some opportunities if that's the only way in. I mentioned about what it costs when we upfit a store that we take it over. It's going to be $2 to $3 million a store. So if you open 8 stores, then you might have 25 million or so in stores, and then your CapEx is going to be higher. But I'd say steady state is about 30 to 35. Yes.
Great. Well, those are all the questions I have, and I think we're out of time. If you have anything else, any closing remarks you want to make, Clarence, before we sign off?
I appreciate, Christina, you talking to us, and we're very excited about our future. Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you everyone for listening in. We hope to see you at the next event, which is scheduled for September 18th. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, Christina.